Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BG Show featuring Thomas Depeche. I am your host, as always, Ben Green, aka BG. This is Thomas Depeche. I am recording, as always, from South Florida, and Depeche today is in Skinny Atlas, New York, his hometown. We are here today to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, the 2022 Disney Plus show that just wrapped up. Me and Depeche are pretty massive Star Wars fans, so we've been waiting for this for a very long time. So let's get right into it. I'll do my initial thoughts and you'll do your initial thoughts. So I guess right off the bat, and we're just going to dive right into spoilers because we're assuming if you're watching this, you've seen it. If you're wondering, oh, should I watch it? Should I not watch it? Just fucking watch it. So, yeah, I was overall, I was disappointed. I think everyone was. I don't really know how you watch this and you're not disappointed. I think it really splinters if you've watched the animated and non-animated stuff, because I think there's a chance if you've watched the non-animated stuff that, maybe, you're impressed by it, but I think Clone Wars and Rebels just destroys this stuff. So, let me pause. Yeah, if you've seen Rebels and Clone Wars, I don't think you're gonna be impressed by this. They blatantly ripped off the scene where he gets his helmet cracked. And so yeah, I don't really understand what they were thinking. With the plot line. The original writer got fired. They brought a new writer, and I just think it was pretty mediocre. The stagecraft technology, which if you don't know, is the new thing for Disney Plus, which they've been ranting and raving about, saying, oh, we can make, these set pieces look huge. It's amazing. And I'm like, other than The Mandalorian season 1, what has looked good on Disney Plus? You know what I mean? I've never seen so many projects where you can tell it's being shot like in a studio. Like when I watched earlier Marvel movies, I was never like, there was some bad CGI, but the scale always looked big. I was never like, that looked like a studio. It always looked big. So I think overall the plot was was just mediocre. I don't have a reason to go rewatch it. There were individual cool parts with Vader, but that's really all I got. We'll go into it a lot more, but those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, that's right around where I'm at with it. I did think that when it peaked, it was really, really good. Like I thought the third episode in the series was amazing, but they kind of it was all downhill from there. And like you got to save your best for last, I guess. And the fact that nothing ever tops the third episode wasn't good for me. I thought the plot was a good way to start a show. I heard that this was going to be a 3-movie thing. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they didn't even have enough plot for 6 episodes. Like there were so many just like filler scenes that were just there to basically just to up the runtime of the show. I felt like because of what you said, where like all the VFX and all this stuff, like it's so heavily budgeted, and that takes up such a large part of the show that they just put in these scenes that go for like 3 or 4 minutes that are just like really, really boring and mundane, and they've been done before. Like a lot of when Obi-Wan's going back into the Death Star to like get Leia, like, like we know he's gonna get there, like just get us there. And so much dialogue in it was really there. Like the dialogue between Obi-Wan and Anakin, I thought was pretty peak and very well done for the most part. But the dialogue between all of the rest of the characters was so like shitty and just served to reinforce the plot rather than like spark any kind of creativity. That was what I really didn't like at all. So
I guess okay. So I guess I'll go like what was your, so I guess originally, what was your number one hope? I'll say my number one hope going to the show and what you wanted the most. What I kind of thought they should have done is just kept it simple. Obi-Wan Kenobi is on the run. Vader wants to kill him. He has inquisitors going after him. And every single episode, I think it should just be Kenobi doing cool shit. You already know he's not going to die. So it's not like they have to, no one's going to blame the director for him not dying or getting out of situations because we know that's going to happen. So you kind of almost are playing with house money there, So if I was them, I would have just had him with his lightsaber 24/7. They do Disney Plus always has like the build-up episode, the first episode where jack shit's going to happen. And, they do that. We're back on Tatooine. And yeah, I'm jumping around, but I want to go actually, I just thought about the money because you mentioned like how it looked cheap. And of all the things to mess up, like how can you mess up not spending enough money? I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you're talking about, they're making the show because they want their streaming service to be as good as possible. By this being a dud, it's a if this was a huge hit show and everyone was like, oh my God, Kenobi's amazing. Think about the traffic that would be going to Disney Plus, like when Mandalorian was really good. Um,
Yeah.
so
So I wouldn't call it a dud
I
because the
wouldn't
main
call it
thing
a
that I
dud,
wanted
but
to see going into the show myself, like I really wanted to see like the relationship between Obi-Wan and Vader evolve and like what was happening with that storyline in between three and when it gets picked up. And I think a lot of that was really well done. And I think especially like what they did with Vader, I almost wish they had made him even cooler, but they did like in that third episode when he's chasing Obi-Wan and he's just like destroying people with his choke and everything. Like they really showed him as a true villain. And I liked what they did with him for the most part. And the scene when he was like opening up in episode 3, when he's like getting all of his equipment put on him and like they spent so much time like just showing out him and then they cross cut with Obi-Wan. Like that kind of stuff was amazing. And that was what I was primarily looking for in the show. So like when it hit, but there was so much that was unnecessary to get there. And the Leia character was like she was a good actress. Um, I don't have too much bad to say about her. I thought she was fine. I thought the dialogue between her and Obi-Wan was just like by the end of it was so repetitive and it bordering on cheesy, but not it just didn't hit for me in the same way the Obi-Wan and Vader stuff did. Even at the end, like he explains everything to her like almost like she's a child, but then like he also goes and he tells you how much respect for her he has, and like he like tells her like he treats other people like she's not a child, but he treats her like she is. So it's just kind of a contradiction there with a lot of dialogue that I didn't like. But yeah, that's where I was at with it for the most part. But I did I mean I'm not gonna say don't watch it. Like, I enjoyed it and the fight scenes and stuff were sick. And this is coming from someone who like I've seen some of the animated stuff, but I haven't gotten to all of it yet. So I didn't realize that the helmet thing was a straight knockoff.
well, so yeah, I guess I don't want to spoil it now because maybe you'll get into it. But yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah, for sure.
basically it's a scene with Ahsoka, and I thought that was cool. But okay, so I think the biggest positive. Well, let's go character by character, and look, I was about to talk about. So let's just start with Vader. The coolest part of the show, I think, was that Hayden Christensen got to actually be in the suit.
Yeah.
And you can actually tell because I think the hardest part about Star Wars is I never felt like Vader was Anakin Skywalker. Like when you watch A New Hope, it never really felt like that was like the Anakin from Episode 3 who was in the suit. It kind of I know it's supposed to be him, but it feels almost like a different person. Um, in
Yeah.
this show, it really feels like it's him in the suit. The way he's moving, he's way more agile and like stronger. So that was definitely a positive. Um, and I think like especially the first time you see him like in the back of the tank and he looks actually scary. This is the scariest he's ever been, cracking people's necks. But I think that was the biggest positive of the show was how they did Vader. A lot of people were complaining,
Yeah.
oh, he was losing, but like yeah, I mean, no Jedi or in Star Wars, aren't like Marvel villains. Like they get hit a lot. Even the villains, take some cracks. So, yeah, what'd you think of Vader?
I really liked him. I thought it was well done. I thought it was really cool and really nostalgic when they put Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor in the scene where they're just kind of training. Like it looked like it could have been
Oh
from
yeah,
like
the flashbacks.
2 and 3. Yeah, when they kept flashing back to that, I thought for the most part that was really good and that really hit home. Yeah, I thought Hayden Christensen's performance was amazing, and to your point, like it really felt like him because the first line he says to Obi-Wan is like, "I am what you made me," and you could tell, like you could really feel the hatred and the resentment in the same way that you could see it in his eyes at the end of episode 3 when he's like burning in Mustafar.
Yeah.
So I thought that they did a really good job of introducing him. Like I said, I wish like he'd been a little more ruthless. Like Vader would have killed what's her name?
Reva.
Riva. Real Vader would not
I
have
can't
left
believe
her
we have.
alive
I can't believe we
at
haven't
all.
even mentioned her yet, but we'll get
Yeah.
there.
But yeah. So and I liked like so I wish that they had gone even a little bit darker with him because he was leaning into it and he was playing the character in a really dark way. And I liked how they did the combat sequences where like the first one, he was kind of just like, you could tell like the way Obi-Wan was fighting, he was just slower and weaker and eventually he built himself back up pretty quickly. But what can you do? It's a 6-part series. So yeah. I thought that was really, really cool. And I guess we'll get into Reva now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know it. I guess I don't know if I like the way it ended for her. I liked her more cruel. I thought the scene what really sold me on her, what really made me like her was the first scene where they're going in and they're hunting for Jedi and the Inquisitor's asking and she just slings a dagger at like she was that ruthless, she was that cutthroat. So I'm not even really sure why she wanted to go after Luke. Like I didn't really get that when I was watching it. But I wish that she hadn't like turned her mind like that, I guess, I feel like they just kind of did that as a way to like keep her story going because she was big in the other ones. But I feel like her story was good in the beginning, like I was saying, and then it just kind of tailed off. But what do you think?
I just think they set her up to fail. They set her up to fail. And she obviously got railroaded by like all the racist messages from the first thing. And I thought that was really stupid because you can tell none of the people are really Star Wars fans.
No, of course
And
not.
like it's not woke. Like the Inquisitors are from the video games, it's in canon, so they're bringing new Inquisitor. And like, I just think they didn't write it well because everyone knew that she was the Padawan from the
there was supposed to be some big
from the first episode, so there was no twist. And it was like she was just the way she was like acting like, oh, she's a loose cannon. And it was just bad. Like, why is the storylines, why is the so bad? Like, why is the writing like it's almost like so simple? It's like it almost seems like they wrote it in a day. It's like there's no
right
nuance at all. And I don't know.
It was just a weird redemption arc. Like,
and
I don't know.
It's not even redemption. She just didn't kill a child. That's not even redemption.
Yeah, I don't know why they gave it to her. She didn't necessarily deserve it, But I like the performance was good. I just, like I say, like I think I agree that I just didn't like where they went with the character. So
she's a Padawan who somehow escaped, and it's like I don't know. I don't. They made and then so they have her being alive. If they think they're doing some sort of spin-off show with her, I don't see that. I don't know how they think they're doing that.
Forget about that.
I don't. She's not a good guy, and her powers are. I don't. It's just not a good character. I don't. There's no way to. They didn't make her look powerful at all. It was just not good. I don't.
No, they really didn't. She was supposed to. I mean, like the fact that she was just Force sensitive to begin with. They could have made her into a lot more badass of a character. And like they tried to with the dialogue, but they should have shown more with her actions. So I didn't like her. I guess the next character, I overall, I don't think she just brought that much to the show. I thought the performance was fine, but I just don't think that the character brought that much to the show. And they could have used a lot of the time they spent building her up into just more of the Obi-Wan and Vader storyline. Like it's Obi-Wan, like they just could have leaned so much more heavily into that. There just didn't need to be all these ancillary characters.
Right.
So I guess another ancillary character we can go to is the girl that inspires Leia. She was good. She was in it for a lot. But you know what? Even more screen time than her was Kumar. Like I have no idea why they like give these random characters so many scenes.
So they got
unnecessary.
To see in Silicon Valley, they got why am I blanking on his name? Kumail Nanjiani from Silicon Valley, who's a good actor who I actually thought was a Jedi when he first came out. They had him playing like basically a con artist who pretended to be a Jedi and ripping people off. And it's basically a new thing in the Star Wars universe where they get famous actors and they do a day of work and they're like, hey, you want to be in a Star Wars thing? And they're like, sure, like why not? I'll be in a Star Wars show. And it's like it kind of takes you out of it. The Jedi in the first episode who they kill and who recognizes Kenobi, that's Benny Safdie, who's the director of Uncut Gems. Many people might not notice, but I mean, it's just like, why you're trying to make a Star Wars show that's huge in the Star Wars universe. And it's like, that's what you're thinking about, how to incorporate these weird cameos. So I think that's kind of stupid. But
Yeah. I think they could have just there could have been even more character. That just like could have been more character development for more important people. But I can't believe I'm blanking on her name, but the Game of Thrones alum. She's been on a lot of other shows.
from Alaria Sand from Game
Yeah,
of Thrones, but
yeah. I thought that her character was really good, and I liked that it drove Leia, and I liked Leia's I liked Leia as a character. You know, some of it bordered on too much sometimes, but overall I liked it, and I liked the first episode. I thought it was I thought the plot was really well done in the first episode where she just goes out and gets kidnapped. Really, like that happened really fast, and it set the stage for everything else. But I liked where it went with her. You know, it's Princess Leia. How could it go? You know, how could it go any other way? And they showed a lot of like what she's getting into next, and that would be a spin-off that I might sign up for. Would be something with her in the future, you know, 4 or 5 years down the line.
what'd
I
you
think
think of yeah, what'd you think of Ice Cube's son who played that pilot guy?
he was fine, dude. He was another one though that I thought was just there way too long, you
Yeah.
know. And him and Obi-Wan, he gets this whole scene with Ewan McGregor. Like you can't tell me that like it's so precious the amount. Like it's still a short show, right? It's like when you think about it, like you're only on screen with Obi-Wan for X amount of hours, and like I feel like so much of that time just went to Ice Cube's son, and like he was completely irrelevant, like kind of before and after, and he's not anyone in the other movies, right? Like you're not supposed to like remember him from anywhere else, or is he in the animated stuff, or is he just randomly
No,
there?
he's a new character, and
Right? But he's not like a callback to anybody in 4, 5, or 6. Yeah.
no. And
So like that, yeah, it didn't make sense that they spent
they
that he
mentioned a Jedi. They had that was in like an underground railroad that they kind of set up, and they mentioned the Jedi. Blanking on his name, a Jedi they mentioned, who's kind of like almost like a Native American Jedi. That's
Oh
like a Star
yeah.
Wars equivalent. And
Yeah.
I thought he was going to show up because they kept mentioning him, like he was going through the under, and then he showed up in Clone Wars for a couple episodes, and he was really cool.
Got
And
it.
shit, I should really know his name. But anyway, they kept mentioning him, and I'm like, okay, that'd be a cool cameo. That'd be like a cool, Easter egg. But then he didn't show up. So
Yeah. Maybe that's where they're going with it after. Maybe that's what they have another show in the pipeline with this guy, you know. But yeah,
yeah.
you would expect that to be a callback at some point. Who else? Who else did you want to hit?
Hold on a second.
You know what I was really upset about?
Now.
What I was really upset about, you know. So you give all these scenes to all these like not meaningless characters, but pretty irrelevant characters when you think about it. And like it takes until the very last episode for Qui-Gon to show up, and he shows up for all of like 10 seconds.
Oh my god, how did I even think? Oh, I totally forgot about this.
You know what? Like all the scenes that went to Ice Cube's son and just developing these random ass characters. You could have had Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon going back and forth, and Qui-Gon because Qui-Gon meant Anakin meant so much to Qui-Gon, you know, and to see that. That could have been somewhere that they could have developed so much more, and to leave that out for what, for Ice Cube's son.
So like, this is how you. So now we'll talk about
this. Stack up and get Liam Neeson in there. Everyone
this is how we fix. This is how we fix the show. You first of all increase the budget, increase the run times. You get Liam Neeson for the entire show, pay him whatever it takes, and the entire show is like, hey, Liam Neeson, I know you don't want to come back to Star Wars. It's you and Ewan McGregor, who's like an actor you respect. And we're going to do it right. And you guys are just going to go back and forth. And that it's going to be like, he's going to be guiding you. And then he's going to basically be preparing him for the battle with Vader. There could be an entire training episode. There could be like, so that's that. You streamline the entire Reva thing into her into fixing that twist. So it's like an actual twist at the end. You kind of clean up all of the Leia stuff and make that one episode instead of the entire season. You just get one episode with Leia. He saves Leia, and that's it. It's like, oh, cool, we saw Leia, and then I just think it's a way better show.
Or with Luke too, you know,
and it's just a way better show. And then I think also you can get stuff with Maul because Maul is alive at this time, and it leads into Rebels, and so you want to kind of guide people back into the animated series, and so. I would have done that. I'm also thinking the location of the final battle. They did it in like a very
a weird planet.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking like if they would just have it on the Death Star again or something.
yeah.
Wow. So I would have maybe had this figured out a way to have Luke away from. You should have had Vader come to Luke's house. I think it's totally stupid how Vader still is totally. Well, Vader knows. How does Vader not know that? Like
Right.
there might be something there. He's been there. He was there in the prequels. So how does he not go to Tatooine? He doesn't. It's such a plot hole that Vader isn't like constantly going to Tatooine.
I
Uh,
thought Obi-Wan not or Vader not knowing Obi-Wan was alive, or the other way around. I think that was also a plot hole. Like he would have definitely been able to feel Anakin's presence, like leaving the Earth, if he thought that Anakin was actually dead, or like he would be able to feel him at some point. You know, like I just don't believe that they could go all those years without knowing that the other, like, he was alive.
right. Yeah.
I thought that was ridiculous.
Hmm.
There were a couple other plot things I didn't really like, but I guess yeah, I guess I just wanted more throwbacks. I wanted more callbacks to the other movies and the other shows, and and it just wasn't there. I liked what they did with Ewan McGregor's character in general. Like I liked how they showed him as a recluse for a really long time and how long it took him to come out of that. I think that was a good kind of battle, like inner battle to focus on. But yeah, I guess I just wish that they had more callbacks to the originals and shown like more of kind of like why he was in that turmoil and why he was in that state, and more from those characters. You know, where was Yoda this whole series? You don't
I
think
don't
they
know
keep in
why
touch?
they have him in
Like,
that wax scene in Last Jedi, but they don't have him here. It's stupid.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of missed opportunities. Like when it was good, it was a good show. But I think that yeah, you're right. There was a lot of opportunities for better stuff or for it to be better. Um,
Do
I
you
really
want a
like the
season two?
director, and I think they did the best what they could with the storyline that they were giving. You know, that's not just like one person's like say, but I thought the episodes were well done. But I guess I just wish that they focused on other things. You know,
Yeah. So I guess
and making them a little longer too. Yeah.
wrapping up. I think there will be a season two. I
Huh.
think it's a little risky because I don't think you can run back to Vader stuff. So what do you do? He's the bad guy. Um, I really don't know. Maybe you have him. I don't know, but uh,
I don't think there was a season two there. I don't know. I mean, Ewan McGregor, I'm sure he loves playing the character, but I didn't see it when I was watching.
I don't have much confidence in this. So that's really, I think that's our review. There wasn't a ton of energy here because we're kind of a little not demoralized, but a little disappointed.
Yeah,
I think our next review in the pipeline, Top Gun, will be a little bit more fiery. But
having fun yet?
yeah, this is another review. This is our first kind of at-home setup. It doesn't look as good as we'd like it to because we're kind of both using kind of cheaper webcams, but we're going to figure out a way to upgrade to either our iPhones or something better. But just keep coming back for more content. Now that we're set up, I think we'll really be cranking these out. And even some of these, maybe I'll do alone. Maybe there'll be something you watch you just put up alone. So
For
um,
sure.
we'll be constantly be putting stuff up. So like always, if you're someone we know from home, from Syracuse, from wherever, thanks for watching. If you're a hater, thanks for watching. You know who you are. Um, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. I'm
Yeah, the other
BG.
side.
This is Depeche.
Last
Peace
off
out,
tonight.
everyone.